Hi, I'm Ashley Richardson. I'll be answering two questions today. The first being who I would have to dinner, and that would be Joseph Stalin, because I've always thought of him as a pretty big mystery. Um, the first element of his personality would be his trust in Hitler. Even as they were signing the Soviet Non-Aggression Pact in 1939, Hitler had left behind a slew of broken promises with other world leaders, and Stalin had already made many concessions to Hitler during their time of agreement. Even as Hitler was invading the Soviet Union, Stalin did not want to believe that Hitler would invade the Soviet Union unprovoked. And then even after Operation Barbarossa was well underway, Stalin was open to a separate peace with Hitler outside of an agreement with his Western allies. So that's always something that's interested me, is why he was so trusting in Hitler. And then on the flip side of that, I would like to know why he was so mistrusting of his Western allies. He didn't allow them to use the Soviet bases in some instances. He spied on them, having already known about the atomic bomb well before Truman told him at Potsdam. And then he also even hid the death of Adolf Hitler to use as a bargaining tool to his advantage. So that is something that I'd always like to know. And then also how he saw Soviet influence if he had maintained his agreement with Hitler, or how he saw Soviet influence under the Western allies. Did he think that he would ultimately have to go to war with Germany after World War II to obtain more of a sphere of influence on the world? Or did he think that he would be able to obtain Soviet influence under an agreement with Hitler? And then also, did he see, or did he know during the whole time that he was making agreements at Tehran and Yalta and Potsdam, did he ultimately know that he was going to kind of not keep those agreements with the Western allies? Or, basically, how did he see the Soviet influence after the war in both aspects? There would be much to discuss with Stalin, probably over a little bit of vodka. My second question is the effective leaders, and I have chosen one from the Axis side and one from the Allied side. The Axis side would probably have to be Adolf Hitler. He won the leadership with less than the majority of the vote. He used fear and intimidation as a tactic to get people to fall into line. While is not a great way of leading, it was effective. And he really did use the past to his advantage. He pointed to the Versailles Treaty to show how unfairly the Germans were being treated, and after post World War I, and really kind of hammered it in that that was the rest of Europe trying to put Germany under their thumb. And he also used the Jews as a scapegoat in saying that they controlled the banking systems. He also believed that Germans were ethnically superior, and he really united Germany under the fact that nobody wanted to go back to the interwar period. Germany really, he really united Germany in that sense. So. On the Allied side, I would have to say that the most effective leader was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because he was dealing with a country of isolationists, and he really saw from the past through Woodrow Wilson that he needed the country and Congress on his side. And so he was very effective in keeping the U.S. isolationist, but then putting us through with policies such as Lend-Lease in 1941 that put us in the war but kept us out. And he really knew how to play in diplomacy. Like, he got Churchill on his side. He knew kind of how to deal with Stalin. So he was very trusted, so much so that our country elected him 4 times. So, yeah, I'd have to say FDR was our most effective Allied leader.